Good morning, everybody. Today is January 5th, Sunday. I kind of want to get back to what I started this channel for. It's so hard to stay away from news and politics these days, and I don't want to make this channel a political. Really, what I intended for this channel to do is our country has really, I feel like, at least educationally and morally and in a lot of different ways, the country has really declined over the last 100 to 120 years or so. I know I've read back in the early 1900s when kids were in high school, they were learning Latin and Greek, doing much more complicated things than I feel like we even do today. And maybe it's just changed, but I feel like we've lost something in terms of that. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is getting back into reading. I feel like, especially for those of you that are parents, encouraging your children to read. I think that's something that really has to start at an early age. These kids have gotten so, and adults too, have gotten so addicted to our electronic devices that people barely read anymore. I wanted to show you guys my own little personal library. This is not all of my books. I have more books upstairs. Most of my books upstairs are like financial advice. I do have some travel books and things like that, but I did bring some of my literature down here and put them in these bookcases down here. So I'm just going to, wanted to show you guys what I've got here. I have, I started buying these Easton Press volumes. So some of you may be familiar with Easton Press. They have very nice leather-bound copies of books. Here I have the Rights of Man from Thomas Paine, a very important, influential book from the early part of our country's founding. I have Don Quixote, which is considered one of the world's first, and perhaps the most influential novel. We also I have here the Alhambra from Washington Irving. I lived in Spain for a couple of years, and Washington Irving was an American author who went and lived in Spain, and he was actually living in the Alhambra Palace itself for a period while he was over there. And I find that pretty interesting. But I've also got other books here. I've got War and Peace. Of course, you've heard about War and Peace. It's a very long, heavy book. I have not read that yet. I actually did get the audiobook for that, and I think I'm going to go through it with the audiobook. But I do have the physical hard copy too. I also have Plato's The Republic, and I have Aristotle's Politics and Poetics. I also have Uncle Tom's Cabin. There's a few other books there. I also wanted to show you this. I think this is a great idea for as you're raising kids. I think every high school student should have to, during their 4 years of high school, should have to go through at least the majority of the books in this collection. And some people are going to look at me like I'm nuts because there are about 50 books in this set. But like I said, if you read 20 pages a day, or even say 10 pages a day, that one of these books is about 300 pages long. So if you read 10 pages a day, that's one book a month. You can read almost all of these books in the 4 years in high school. These are the Harvard Classics. This was a set of books that was intended to comprise a lot of the knowledge that humans had gathered. This set was originally put out back in the early 1900s, so it's been printed many times. I think this set is from 1969. It's not a first edition, but I think it's 1960s set here. But some of the important pieces in here, I have started reading these. I've actually read a number of these already. Benjamin Franklin's diary is there. I have read that. And he gave a lot of different advice and put out a lot of newsletters when he was younger. And you may know that he used a pseudonym. He didn't use his real name on some of those, but he had put out a lot of informational and advice, almost like advice columns, from Benjamin Franklin. So, you've got some writings by Plato. You've got some of Shakespeare's works in here. Some of the Greek literature. You do have The Wealth of Nations. I have read that by Adam Smith. That's if you're interested in finance, or that's a really one of the most influential books of finance early on. Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations. I also have here, let's see, The 1001 Nights. I did start reading that. I haven't finished it. Let's see, what else is in here? As you can see, there's just a number of different volumes. You got the Divine Comedy by Dante, the Odyssey by Homer. Like I said, there's some William Shakespeare's works in here. And it's just all intended to be a gathering of knowledge from humanity. I also have some other books over here. There's some autobiographies over here. You've got books about, or biographies. You've got Margaret Thatcher, Winston Churchill, Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. You got Ronald Reagan, Patton. Just a number of different books here. Albert Einstein. Some more historical books down here. Celts, the Alexander the Great. This book's about the Middle Ages in Europe, Western Europe. So just a number of different books here that I think are interesting. I think that it's important for us to be teaching our children to read, getting into just think it's important for Americans. As I'm trying to think of things that we can do to help improve our country, start improving ourselves. Now, reading is just one of many things I think that everyone should do. I think, we've turned to the video games and TV and movies, and I feel like it has its good points to it. I think video games are a good recreational outlet. I just think some people go overboard with it. I think I think everyone should do at least an hour of reading every day. Some people may find that hard to do. I get it. I wake up early. I think that's also some good advice. I'm usually up. My alarm goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm typically up by 4:30, so I may not. My alarm goes off at 4. I may not be up by then, but 4:30 I'm usually up. I am currently studying. I'm working on my certified financial planner designation, and I've been studying in the morning for that. But once I'm done with that, I'm going to be using that time to read. So I think it's important for everyone to be reading, also learning how to do mechanical things. This is something that I wish I was better at. Something I would encourage, especially the fathers out there, to be teaching their sons how to work on cars, how to do basic maintenance to a car. I can do some basic things with a car. I can change my tire. I've done it before. I've done a few basic things to the cars, but I don't know how to work on brakes or anything like that. Now, anything mechanical, I'm going to a mechanic. But my brother actually learned how to work on his own brakes, and he actually has replaced his own brakes before. Which I would never have any idea where to even begin with something like that. So I wouldn't even trust myself doing that, to be honest with you. I guess if someone showed me how to do it and I had some practice, I'm sure I could learn it. Maybe I'm just finding the time and finding someone to teach me how to do it, but that can also save us money. Think about it from an economic standpoint. If you can do all that work yourself, if you can change your own oil, change your brake pads, that sort of thing, that could actually save you a good bit of money too. But I think it's just important that we know how to do things, and I feel like our children really are a little bit behind on learning how to do some of these things. I don't know. I my daughters, my oldest daughter Ashley, she actually went to school and began studying how to work on cars. She's actually changed her own serpentine belt. She's 20, by the way. My daughter's 20 years old. She has changed her own serpentine belt. She learned how to do a few things with a car. She's starting to have second thoughts about whether that's what she wants to do as a career, just because of the physical nature of the job, and I think it might just be a little hard for her to be able to do that for 30 or 40 years. It is a little bit physically demanding, and I don't know if she's quite up to that. But she was very interested. She was very interested, and still is interested in cars. So that's something that at least she knows how to do that. I think she's also done brake work too. So again, I just want to go back to just saying that the purpose of this channel is not to get too political. We all have our political viewpoints. Everyone's, America's very evenly divided right now. I think it's important that we find things that we can agree on. And I think one of the things that all of us want is for our children to have a good future, and I feel like we have kind of let our kids down in terms of the proficiency, the education level in the country. I think our public school teachers do as much as they can, but they can't raise our kids. They're not there to raise our children for us. They can, teach. In reading and writing, I think sometimes our teachers do wander a little bit into other topics, but I think they really should focus on reading, writing. Really, our children should be reading before they even go to kindergarten. I was reading by the time I was about 3. I think I was 3 when I really was starting to read. I mean, basic children's books, but by the time I got to kindergarten, I had a pretty good proficiency on reading. Math, math's important, basic, at least basic math. I think, I'm pretty proficient all the way through algebra. I got to calculus in college, and didn't particularly care too much for calculus. I never quite caught on to the whole sine, cosine, tangent mess that was going on. I to this day, I have no idea what any of that means. But they kind of lost me when they got into all that. I never quite caught on to it. So anyway, we're supposed to be getting some winter precipitation today. I went to my office early this morning and got my laptop, so if it gets nasty out there, I can work from home. I'm hoping that it won't get too bad out there. I just want everyone to know that we can make this country better, and it's going to take more than one person, no matter who's president. One person, that president, is not going to be able to fix everything. We as citizens have to begin doing what we can to make our country better. And one way we can do that is by raising our children correctly. People aren't having as many kids these days, but so maybe we can, use what free time we do have to really work with the children we do have. I have 2 daughters, and I'm not having any more, so I saw to that. But I'm 48 now. I'm done. I'm totally, I'm probably 15 years away from retirement, so I'm, having a child now would not be a great idea. But let's all try to help our kids as much as they can. There are some educational podcasts here on YouTube. Find some good sources of education for them on YouTube. Turn your kids onto that. If some good books. I remember when I was young, I used to read the some of the mystery novels, like the Hardy Boys, that stuff like that. I used to read those books when I was younger. I think depending on the age of your children, that could be a good place to start reading. I know the Harry Potter books were actually very easy reads. That could be something to get your kids into reading too. Um, let's work on getting our kids more proficient in all of those areas. Teach your kids to write in cursive. The schools are not doing it anymore. To me, that's a basic thing. I mean, many of our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, were written in cursive, and so kids aren't even going to be able to read it. So, so let's try to get the kids make sure they know how to write neatly. I talked about this a little while back, was that my youngest daughter just turned 13, and when I look at her handwriting, it's like, this is the handwriting of like a 6-year-old or a little kid. And so at Christmas, I got her a book to teach her how to write, where she could trace and learn how to write in cursive. I'm hoping she's working on that. I'm going to have to check on her and say, hey, remember that little book I got you? But I'll check with her on that. Anyway, like and subscribe to my videos. I'm going to be 2025. I'm trying to put out more content, so I'm going to be putting more videos up. Again, if you have any suggestions for other books that you feel are beneficial to people, post them in the comments. I do have my Cash App there. If you so feel inclined, feel free to shoot me a couple bucks. That encourages me to continue to put out content, and it helps the channel. And we do appreciate it. Hope you all have a great day. Stay warm out there.